General Electric is a blue chip US industrial holding company founded by Thomas Edison.
Right, Edison, that was a while ago, that was in the 19th century, but what has it under its belt now under Jeff Immelt, the CEO, is a big industrial business in power generation. It's got a big aircraft engines business. I don't know if you've looked out of the window on a jetliner, you'll often see a GE logo on the actual engine hanging underneath the wing. And then a bunch of other financial and industrial interests, which it's kind of been slimming down recently.
Market cap here, $275.3 billion US dollars, PE ratio of 22.7 and a dividend yield of 3.1. So we're back in the dividend space. As you said, Buffett not a fan of dividends.
Yeah, look, I mean, one of the better dividend players within its sector. A company that's paid quarterly dividends for over 100 years. Within the top 25 companies worldwide for revenues is one we've got to look at very closely, and a really impressive set of assets, from the aircraft engines to the renewable energy side. And what they're getting better at doing is kind of linking their industries together. So a recent acquisition with Alstom is on the steam side, combining with their turbine side. So they're getting a lot better at that. And a big growth market for them now is India. India's got huge renewable energy plans. Their economy is still growing significantly, and GE is particularly well positioned. They've got a big presence in India to benefit from that. So I see a lot of drivers for earnings going forward in this group.
Look, the previous CEO, Jack Welch, who was like, Neutron Jack, everybody loved him back in the day. He bought his way into lots of financial sector assets, including like things that they weren't involved in at all. I mean, it's one thing to fund a customer to buy a wind power plant, but they got into retail credit cards and mortgages in Europe and all sorts of other stuff. That largely has been sold down.
And they also got into television in a big way. In fact,
of course,
NBC.
Good point. Although the NBC, global CNBC business was off-sold to Comcast, so that's no longer part of the group.
But as you were saying, though, they accumulated all these different assets across the board.
One other thing we haven't mentioned so far is a big medical imaging business. If you go for a CAT scan in a hospital, chances are GE made that big machine that they slide you in on. So all of this stuff adds up to pretty solid earnings base. New management, I think it's time. Jeff Immelt has served his kind of regulation 8 or 9 years now.
Yeah, it's around that.
A lot of people, he's quite political. He's quite a prominent Democrat, which means that most of people on Wall Street hate him because all people on Wall Street are, of course, Republicans. But that's an aside.
That's an aside. I don't want to get into another political discussion on hot stocks. Let's stay with the stock market. Could we stay with the stock market, please? Right. So, are we calling this one? Would you like to add anything? There's the chart. Just let's have a look at that performance.
It's pretty good. It's moved. Look, it was above $30 briefly, and it's traded lower with the rest of the market.
Pretty much. I mean, isn't it really tracking the underlying S&P?
A little bit, but I think Devin's right. It's starting to look more attractive because of this global growth story and of the focus on the energy assets and the aircraft engines.
Also, big play across the African continent. GE is really a name that you come across on a regular basis.
Yeah. So geographically well positioned. They're cleaning up the group structure, selling off those financial assets, as Paul said. I think it's looking compelling as an overall pass. I'm going to go hot.
Hot.
Yeah.
Paul,
I'm going to lean on hot too, although just be prepared for a little bit of a bumpy ride with this one because cycles of spending in infrastructure are not always all that predictable.
But you are putting it firmly into the
hot.
hot camp.
Yeah.